Tonight's heavy snowfall has rendered visibility on the road almost null. The radio blares the same op-ed you've heard all week. Your relationship with Barbara, your wife of 7 years, is not going great. This evening, like so many other nights, you came home to a cold reception. Her silence spoke volumes about her mental state and her disposition toward you. It didn't take long for an argument to break out, and as usual, you preferred to go back to the office to give her space. Your office is your sanctuary, the only place in the city where you feel like you still have a handle on things, where you are in control. In this space, you feel wanted, needed even. As you drive through the snow, you begin to see the silhouette of your clinic standing tall and dark against the night. Only the light above the entrance has been left on. You park your vehicle in the side lot. Half a foot of snow has already accumulated. You wonder if you're going to be stuck here, and begin to think that might be a good thing. You walk up the steps and unlock the front door. As you walk down the corridor to your office, you feel as if someone has just stepped on your grave. You open the door and breathe a sigh of relief as your eyes fall on the familiar space. Wait. Where is your mirror? And why are there mounds of papers on your desk? Has there been a break-in? Your first thought is to call the police. But what if it was just an accident on the part of the cleaning lady? You figure it might be best to take a look around before calling the cops. That way, you can give them more information when they show up. Your desk is a mess. Someone scattered your papers and supplies everywhere. Your picture frames have been toppled. Most of your expensive pens have been broken, and the ink has been spilled across your files. Someone messed with your files. You remember the most recent memo about digitizing your files, and you know you've been behind on that. If this is someone's idea of a reminder, there will be hell to pay. The circled words, the added comments in the margins. It feels like someone wanted to leave you a message. Most of the manipulated files concern abuse victims, violent patients, and patients with dissociative disorders. Furthermore, the notes seem to indicate a pattern of judgment. The person who wrote these notes pretended to analyze those patients based only on the information you left behind, as if they were playing psychiatrist. Not many people at this clinic know of your observations or the patients who have visited you. Looking closer at the handwriting, which at first glance could point to one of your co-workers, you notice it is strangely similar to that of one of your patients, Lydia Moscato. Could she be behind this? Your computer is running, but the monitor is turned off. You do not recall leaving it on when you left. When the screen turns on, you are greeted by an unfamiliar desktop. Spread across the screen are a multitude of audio and video files, and no sign of your work and personal folders. You do not want to open the files, but your curiosity gets the better of you. With one hand, you pick up the phone and dial 911. With the other, you hover over one of the icons. Before the operator answers, you find yourself clicking on a file. It's a video of you and your wife in bed one night. The video was filmed against your window. You panic and your thoughts begin to race. Is this blackmail? In this case, should you call the police? Maybe whoever took this video will know, and might hurt your wife if you act too quickly. A morbid curiosity takes hold of you. You hang up. You open the audio files. They are recordings of your therapy sessions with your patients. Some of them were clearly recorded from within your office, others from outside. The recordings go back as far as 2 years and cover all your patients. Except Lydia. It was easy to miss, but after a few minutes of scrutiny, you realize everything you had on Lydia Moscato has been deleted. Lydia Moscato's files are missing, and everything else has been moved to obfuscate that fact. This is an attempt by your patient to interfere with your work. Approaching the sofa, you hear a crunch and feel like you've stepped on something hard. Lifting your foot up, you notice a broken shard of glass embedded into the sole of your shoe. You take a few careful steps toward the sofa, only to find that someone has not only removed your mirror from the wall, but also left it smashed to pieces on the sofa. The pieces on the sofa do not make up the entire mirror. Some of the shards are missing, and the rest have been rearranged to make a smaller mirror. As you move to look closer, you notice the office blinds were left open, and the shards of mirror reflect the moonlight. Judging by the distance and the angle of the light, this was deliberate. Romans used to believe burying a broken mirror under the moonlight would cancel the bad luck of breaking it. A sort of do-over, if you will. It's true that you have felt fractured lately. You've opened up to a few of your colleagues, but would they really have gone to the trouble of presenting you with such a strange message? A broken mind, a broken man, a broken marriage. It's as if the mirror knows you, reflects the real Harold back at you. Maybe tonight is your breaking point. Maybe your 7 years of bad luck are over, and 7 new years are beginning. The books on the shelf are not yours. You normally keep reference material on psychotherapy, behavioral therapy, and cognitive dissonance. Tonight, instead of your familiar books, you see the following: Treatise on the Apparitions of Spirits and on Vampires or Revenants of Hungary, Moravia, et al., by Antoine Augustin Calmet. The House by the Churchyard, by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Beyond the Gates of Dreams, by Lynn Carter, Belmont Books edition. Plaidoyer pour Gilles de Rais, by Jean-Pierre Bayard. The books all have the same thing in common: vampires. Sheridan was the author of Carmilla. Calmet's treatise is on vampires, and even Gilles de Rais was at one point considered a vampire by his contemporaries. Books with links to vampires, but no sign of Dracula or Twilight. What message hides behind all this? You do not recall any of your patients being interested in the occult. However, vampire stories often hinge on themes of emotional manipulation, assault, sex, and death. The person who replaced your book is telling you they are embroiled in a dangerous relationship, possibly non-consensual, wherein death may be the only out they see. There is a soft knock at the door. There in the door stands one of your oldest regular patients, Lydia Moscato, all mysterious and charismatic. This behavior behooves her, but is not representative of her usual self. What is going on tonight? Lydia enters your office wearing a fur-trimmed coat. She leans against the frame of the door and takes a long look around.
Good evening, Harold.
Miss Moscato, what are you doing here? We're closed.
I came to see you, Harold. I needed to see you.
Lydia keeps looking around your office, almost as if she was expecting someone else to be here. She isn't supposed to be here. In fact, didn't you lock the front door behind you? Still, she might be in need of assistance, and as a therapist, you feel called to help. She could be suffering from a psychotic episode. She is definitely not dressed to be outside in the winter, and her behavior is much more flirtatious than usual. To your shame, you recall wanting her at some point. You never acted upon these desires and certainly never let them show. Except right in this moment, the way she is dressed, her dark lipstick, this is everything you find attractive, like she knew you. It was her all along. You lunge for the phone to call the cops. As you grab the handset, Lydia takes a few quick strides into your office and rips the cord from the outlet. She must have seen your reaction, for she changes her behavior almost immediately.
Sit down, Harold. Make yourself comfortable.
Her voice shifts back to flirtatious. She languorously moves to your desk and leans on it.
You will not regret it.
Miss Moscato.
Please, Harold, call me Lydia. We've been together for years.
Her demeanor, her word choice. She is really not her usual self tonight. You decide to entertain her, to use this opportunity to get her talking and figure out what to do.
Miss Moscato, during our last session, you mentioned your disdain for authority. Did you want to expand on that?
Lydia is amused by your attempts to regain control of the situation. She bats her eyes a few times before saying,
You've got a strong will, Mr. Therapist.
You remain quiet.
I would not have expected any less from you. I did not come here for help, Harold. You came here for me.
She isn't making any sense. You fear her situation is worsening the longer she remains without help.
I can fix all of your problems, and God knows you have many. Your wife, your finances, your frustrations.
Lydia, are you saying you spent the last 7 years of your life attempting to control mine in the vague hope that I, at this very moment, would accept whatever proposition you have for me?
Your tone changes from that of an empathetic therapist to a darker, more threatening one.
You're seriously troubled, Miss Moscato. The world does not revolve around you or your needs. You would do well to heed my warning for you. Stop this nonsense and get help. Now.
Lydia fakes surprise, then immediately begins to grin.
Harold, I was not mistaken after all. You will do just fine. You have just shown me you are exactly who I need.
Lydia's interest in you was motivated by a genuine desire to see you succeed, at least according to what she considers success. She's part of a secret society who ruins their prospective members' lives in order to rebuild them as they see fit. Lydia is delighted.
You are missing a few pieces of this puzzle, my dear, but the Camarilla has been good at making itself invisible. You will take to the clan like a fish to water, Harold, and I expect you will surpass even some of our more established kindred.
Harold Beaulieu, backstory. Harold is a psychiatrist with a passion for logic and the human spirit. In his puberty, he was introverted and found comfort in riddles and neo-noir films from the 40s. His life until his embrace was uneventful. As a son, Malkav's his piercing analytical sense makes him an outstanding detective. The embrace worsened his already annoying fears, but blessed him with insights that are unreachable for normal human beings. Either through visions or his unmatched powers of reasoning, Harold has a fine nose for his surroundings or the emotions of other people. Many of his brethren in Montreal look down on him and think of him as a very fragile vampire who is only a word apart from total breakdown. That is in part due to his Malkavian inheritance. Many brethren see his clan as unstable. What they don't know is that Harold's skills and vampiric abilities grant him advantages over his brethren of the Camarilla. Without effort, he sees the true motivations behind the masks of his brethren and is always one step ahead. Nobody knows of his full capabilities, of course, not even his sire Lydia. In the Camarilla, it is best not to show your cards too early to hit the jackpot at the right moment. Conclusion. It is almost 2 years ago since Lydia embraced you, but you still remember every detail, how lustful she came closer, how sensual she has bitten your throat, the pure lust that followed, and finally, death. Panic. Blood filled your mouth and your lungs, while your spirit fell into the abyss. For a sheer endless time, you were bound to a dark place between madness and panic. Then your eyes opened, and you awakened in a completely new world. You are now part of the Malkavians, the clan of the mad. They see the world as it truly is. Lydia has taught you how to still your thirst for blood and explain to you the ways of the Camarilla. She also taught you everything about the Society of the Night, in particular about the 6 traditions: the Masquerade, the Domain, the Progeny, the Accounting, the Hospitality, and the Destruction. Like her, you have become a fierce advocate of these crucial pillars which have protected your kind for millennia. You are a true member of the Camarilla. Tonight, a storm is raging. As you look out of the window, you see sporadic lighting flicker in the gloomy sky. In the distance, you hear a hollow rumble of thunder. It almost feels like some sort of premonition, as if a colossal change is imminent. Your sire, Lydia, left some time ago. She told you about an urgent gathering in the Elysium, which the prince will be holding tomorrow evening. Everybody was asked to attend. You presume that it will be about the mysterious disappearance of a group of artists that are close to Betty, one of Lydia's allies. Your gaze goes back to the window and you watch as the raindrops slowly slither downwards. You are hypnotized by the sight of their sudden, unifying collisions. The fierce cracking of lightning knocks you out of your reverie. It is time to go on a hunt. You need to satiate your hunger before the gathering tomorrow evening.